in school, one of the things that we learned, I studied in sociology, there was a term called the Tangle of Pathologies, right? Which basically means that if you are in an impoverished area, especially for Black folks, it's more than just usually one thing that is oppressing you, right? It's never just lack of money, right? There's a tangle of different pathologies that are forming together to further burden and oppress you, right? So it could be the lack of money, and then it could also be the gun violence, and it could also be not less quality schools or overcrowded schools, and it can also be X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, X, Y, and Z, and name the reason, right? So I say that, in context with also, so affordable housing and these things are important elements for us to work on. It's one element of the tangle of pathology, right? If everybody was able to own their home or live in a place and be able to make rent, that's great. And it would lift a lot of burden off for sure. And we need to struggle and fight and advocate for that because we believe housing is a human right. And there are still other tangles, right? There are still the pathologies that are at work as well that we also got to pull from. And that is the venom, the viciousness of this pernicious system that was Jim Crow, and that was just America, right? Is that it was so strategic. And during our time in South Africa, when we were in Cape Town, uh, that was really one thing that was baffling. So they talked about the story of how when the people were creating apartheid, they looked at the United States as an inspiration.
Yep.
They took time to study what happened in the United States, what's going on in other places where we see segregation, and they created their version of a perfect caste system and a perfect segregated society based off of what the United States was doing, right? And so one of the things that was really eye-opening for us as community organizers, there was a contingent of Black community organizers from Pico, California that went to meet with other community organizers in South Africa. When we sat down and exchanged and really took a look at what our people were going through and also how we were responding to it, they were very, very similar, right? In the ways that we were organizing and in the things that were burdening us and how we were working to lift that out. And we came to the conclusion like it's the same playbook. What they did in South Africa and are still trying to do is the same playbook that is happening here in the United States with a couple little tweaks. And so we must evaluate that playbook in totality, right? And know the works that the wicked are using against us in order to counteract that, right? And so, and certainly land ownership, housing, and homelessness is one element of oppression, one tool that is very powerful and potent use to keep people divided and scrambling. Because if they can't have that base, then they'll never be able to build up into some of the other things, right? If you don't know where you're going to lay your head, right, you'll always be distracted and you won't have as much time to advocate for other things, like that. So that's my response for that.